to this bonus episode. So why am I recording a bonus episode? Yeah, it's because I don't think that I will have the time to record the ordinary episode 4 until it's the normal date to have it published. And that's because I have vacation and I will be going away and doing other things. So that's why I am having this bonus episode out. And in the end I will offer you something. And that's why I need to get this episode out in time. A little bit cryptical, but that's what it is. So a bonus episode. And what will that be about? You might guess from what is here in front of me. Today it is raining heavily outside and it's quite cold. Well, quite cold, between 10 and 15 degrees. And that gives a little bit of a pre-warning about what is to come. And that is the autumn, the colder months. They are soon here. And what can warm as much as a pair of really nice hand-knitted woolen socks? So this bonus episode will be about socks. I think that there are many people that have, when they hear that you are knitting and when they think about knitting, they think about sock knitting. They have memories of their mother, grandmother sitting knitting socks. I have heard friends of mine talking that when they hear this little clicking noise or sound when using double-pointed needle, that reminds them of this kind of cozy moment when they were sitting at their grandmother's and she was knitting socks. So I think that socks and knitting are very, of course they are close connected, but it brings out a lot of memories connected to that. And I don't really remember, but I think that knitting socks was one of my first things I knitted. And then at that time I didn't know that much about yarn. I just used yarn. And it was usually a little bit thicker yarn for this kind of more thicker socks. I choose it based on color. Usually this kind of self-striping or colored yarn in different colors that creates some kind of pattern. I choose from how soft it was, and so I would guess it would have been some kind of superwash wool with nylon or maybe acrylic yarn. I don't remember at all. What I remember was that the pattern for the socks you could find on the inside of the label of the skein. So I used that and knitted some socks. I'm not really sure that I used them. But I knew the basic of knitting a sock, and that was a sock that was knitting like from top and then down to the toe. And when I restarted knitting a couple of years ago, I wanted to start knitting socks again. and I got from a close friend, he wanted to have socks. So I was browsing through Ravelry to find a nice sock pattern. And that was a toe-up sock pattern I found. I guess that I wanted to try that for some reason. But after that, I have been trying to find the perfect sock pattern, the perfect construction that makes a nice fit, but also is nice and enjoyable to knit. And I have tried many different versions, and it usually has to do with the heel, how that is constructed. I found that I like the toe-up construction better than the other way, and I don't want to pick up stitches, and I want to be able to do it knit 2 at a time, because I don't want to end up in this second sock syndrome. And when I've been trying different patterns, then somehow my own pattern grow in my head. I picked all the good pieces from different constructions and then created my own way of doing it. And I have published what I call a sock recipe on YouTube on Miss Evil Knits. It's in Swedish and it's called Evil Stripes, and it's this sock. So this was my first kind of pattern or recipe, as I want to call it, that I published. And what was actually behind this sock, it was that I had made a couple of these technique corner, I called it, technique hörna, a couple of YouTube videos where I show different techniques, knitting techniques, and I wanted to make a pattern where I use a lot of different techniques, just to have it as like showing things in real and not just showing techniques on a swatch. So that was like behind these socks. As I say, it's in Swedish, but I guess that anyone could follow it quite good, at least, by just looking. It's a toe-up sock with these kind of stripes. It's not real stripes, it's like edgy stripes that I call the evil stripes. The heel is a short row heel, and then at the leg it is the Latvian braid, it is stranded knitting, and it is also these bubbles, and then a bind off, can you see it? That kind of mirrors this Latvian braid. So these videos with evil stripe, I think it's 4. I think it's 4 videos. Introduction video, and then the toe and the heel and the leg. I guess it's it. So that one has been up and available for everybody since I published it. So these are the evil stripes, and I know that many have knitted those, and I'm so happy that I see that there are still many of you that is looking at. And what I wanted to do with this, as I said, it was to combine a lot of different techniques and encourage to use whatever of these techniques that you like. That you don't have to use everything, but make your own version of this eagle stripe. I came in contact with Caroline at Höner och Eyre, the one that is producing the Nutiden yarn, and she asked if I could make this sock recipe in English, so her clients or her patron members could knit from it. And it took some time, but then I produced the Kura sock. And in that sock recipe I had changed a little bit and developed it further. And so, as always, I want to develop. And the Kura sock is designed in Nutiden yarn, 2 strands, but the sock recipe can be used for any yarn. That's very important to understand. And it's designed to use leftovers, so you can do this kind of faded effect, but you can use any yarn at all. It don't have to be unspun. It was also made to encourage that actually use like wool that is not superwash treated, that doesn't contain nylon, and show that it actually works, making socks from unspun wool and like clean wool. And this sock I have been using, and you can maybe see that it's starting to felt at the heel. So it's getting, yeah, quite cool. I think this will last for quite long. In the Kura sock recipe I have 2 different socks. It's this one that is called Kura skymning, the dusk. And then somewhere I have this. And this one is the reversed stockinette. So you can wear it actually either side. But I think if you're doing a fade, it's very lovely to see it from the reversed. And also this side, I find it softer and nicer towards the skin. And I made also this version, quite dirty. I have been using them. This version is called Kura gryning, or the dawn, with this grass stitch kind of braid in the front. So 2 different kind of textures, and also 2 different kind of heels, or actually 3 different kind of heels that is part of this recipe. And I will come back to that, because first I want to show you some of my socks that I have been knitting, just to give you inspiration. And I have been trying around. These socks are only knitted in 2 strands of Nutiden. And these are the same pattern, the Kura sock, the Kura gryning, but I made some other leg. And these are quite heavy. They are actually made with 1 strand of a spun 100% wool yarn, and 1 strand of Nutiden. It's like using silk mohair together with a strand of spun wool. You get this kind of halo effect, but also it helps, I find it helps to felt the heel to make it a little bit more durable. So you see, these are quite dirty, but I have been using them, and I think that's what you're going to be doing with the socks. Use them, don't put them in a box. And then I just improvised making this edge, and I guess that the edge is only made of Nutiden. And then I made some others, and I think this is also a version, I'm not sure, maybe 2 strands of Nutiden or 1 strand of another spun yarn and 1 strand of Nutiden. And I find that combination is really good. It makes really durable socks. And these are so nice to wear in a pair of boots when it's cold outside, because they will actually warm you. I find that superwash treated sock yarn with nylon, it doesn't really warm your feet in the same way as these will. I also made these. I think it's in the same, I guess I have 1 strand of each in this. I made these slip stitches. So it's worked it's worked in stockinette, and then I just turn it inside out. And then I have another pair that are a little bit older, that is worked in Rauma yarn, and they have a yarn called Gammelserie 2 plies. That is 100% wool and is spun quite hard to become a good yarn for actually sock knitting. And I find that it's very durable compared to kind of these merino plus nylon sock yarn. So you can see maybe here at the back that it's more felting than becoming any holes in it. So it felts nicely. So socks it's time to knit socks now. And I think that giving someone a hand knitted sock, really warm woolly sock, that is something of the most beautiful gift that you can give to someone. And yeah, to have these warm feet when the cold months are on their way, I think that's lovely. And yeah, nothing can make you so cold as to have cold feet. And just taking off your wet or thin cold socks and putting on a really nice warm pair of socks that warms your whole body. So I was talking about an offer for you, and this Kura sock, the Kura gryning and the Kura skymning, they have so far only been available for Patreon members of Hönor och Eir. And what I will do now, it is that for 2 months this sock recipe will be available for everyone on YouTube. And it's a sock recipe in, I think it's in 4 parts. It's an introduction part where I talk about the sock, the construction, the choice of yarn and needles, and so on. And then there is the first part, that is the toe and the foot, and then we have the heel part, and then we have the leg part. And many have asked, why don't I put this recipe on Ravelry, so everyone can have it available at any time, or if I want to sell it as a recipe, but I have said no. And what I see it is that it's not an ordinary pattern or description. It is more, it doesn't only say what you should do and how you should do it. I also try to explain why you do things, because I want you to learn how to knit a sock, how to construct a sock, how to find the best fit for a sock for you, so you can have this recipe with you for the rest of your life, that if you find yarn and a pair of needles, you can always knit a pair of socks. And that you can use this recipe and apply it on a pattern, a sock pattern, because maybe you want to have these texture or lace or stranded work that comes from a sock, but you will be able to understand the construction of a sock. So it's not that I want to replace any other sock patterns. It's just to give you the, how do you call it? The feeling safe to actually be able to make socks, and don't be afraid to understand what the difference between different heels and so on. What to think about when doing the leg and doing this toe up cast on. So for 2 months, the sock recipe will be available, and it's a limited time, and that's why I want you, if you want to knit these socks, that take your time to actually reflect on what you are doing when you are knitting it, and make a few new notes that you need to be able to do it again. But I want you to be aware when you knit your sock, so that you actually can do it all again. So you actually learn about, so you learn the recipe. And that may take some effort. But it's a very simple recipe, and it's quite kind of clear and obvious, and it's, I hope that you will like it. And it will start at the 1st of September, and that's why I need to get this episode out before the 1st of September. So from the 1st of September, then the introduction episode will be out, and then on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of September, the episode 1, 2 and 3, or part 1, 2 and 3 will be out. And then everything will be available until the end of October, or Socktober, because I hope that you will be knitting a lot of socks during October. And it's on my YouTube channel, and it's Kura Sock. The hashtags for it is either Miss Evil Kura Sock, or if you're actually knitting it in Nutiden, then I hope that you will also tag it with Kura I Nutiden. And in the introduction episode, I tell you all about what Kura means and the symbolic of these socks. I will only announce this offer here and now. So I will not announce it on any Instagram messages or postings, but you are free to share this with your friends or your followers. But then I want you to share it and explain what is the difference between the sock recipe and an ordinary sock pattern, written pattern that you buy on Ravelry. So what's the difference with it? And also explain that even if it's designed in nutida yarn or an unspun yarn, you can use any yarn, thin or thick. Any yarn can be used for this. You just need a pair of needles that fits your yarn. And I also want you to explain that I don't give any pattern support on this one, but you are free. I am happy to give nice comments on it, and I would love to see your socks. So please tag them with Miss Evil Kura sock so I can see them, because that's the joy with actually publishing pattern and seeing that you are using the recipe and making it your own. Yeah, that was what I have for this bonus episode, the first bonus episode in Miss Evil Knits on creativity. And I hope that you will become really creative. And with this Kura sock recipe that is in English, or using the Evil Stripe recipe that is in Swedish, that you find the courage to actually make your own version of a sock, and yeah, be able to call it more or less your own, because you can use the parts that you need and then combine it to something that fits your feet, but also what you like. And I hope that you find someone to give or gift socks to, because that's what I said. I think that is the most beautiful gift to give to someone, a pair of warm socks, so they can stay warm during this winter. Yeah, I think that was it. So have a nice sock knitting month, or whatever you can call it. Take care, and I hope that we will see each other soon again. Bye bye.